So the Cleveland Cavaliers are a letdown. Um, I'm saying this as someone who was a big fan of James Harden, especially in his Houston days. I used to always make excuses for him. I used to always be like, "No, Harden is really good. He just gets unlucky sometimes." It's always an excuse I found to protect this guy. And with the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's not all on Harden. It's a few things. So one of the things with the Cleveland Cavaliers is that after this game three, they're now down 0-3. And Evan Mobley, I'm a big fan of. I don't actually have any major gripes against Evan Mobley apart from sometimes he's soft. But other than that, I think he is who he is, and you get what you expect with Evan Mobley. That he's not going to be anything more. Like, I don't know why we would expect him to be anything more, anything less. He's Evan Mobley. Jarrett Allen, standard. He's a big, doing what he can. He finished this game with 17 points, 7 boards. Not great, but he did what he could. Minus 14. The Cleveland Cavaliers starting five, apart from Dean Wade, all of them, well, the big four scored double digits. They just have no bench all of a sudden. Their bench can't score. Max Strus shooting 11 threes to make four. It's tough. It's very tough. Donovan Mitchell. I have to highlight this actually. I really do have to highlight this. So, Donovan Mitchell, I think he's playing for an injury. Now, I think that's not a valid excuse. Obviously, if you choose to play through an injury and not disclose it, that's on you. But you can tell if you've watched them through the series, he's gone from, or not just through the series, through the playoffs. Game one, he was super aggressive. He was able to get into the paint easily. He was spamming his over the top pick and everything. It was really aggressive. Then from about end of third quarter in game one, all of a sudden his speed went. You could see he slowed down. He wasn't as explosive anymore. And I think that's happened in game one. And I think he's injured because game two and three, you can see he's laboring. He's not moving the same. Whenever he can, he's kind of leaning over, trying. He's trying to hide that he's injured because he doesn't want to give the Knicks a psychological advantage. No, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's BS. It just doesn't matter because the Knicks are better than them. The Knicks showed that after game one, showed that in game two, and then again showed it in game three. They just a much better team. And I think it's a big shame because I really had high hopes for Cleveland after game one, especially the way they dominated the game from start to finish. I think for me, it was not that the Knicks were rusty. It was more of the fact that I felt that Cleveland were actually a good team and they were defending well. They were able to guard the Knicks quite well. That's what I thought. They were able to guard well. That's what I thought in my head initially. But come to realize now, I just think they're not as good as. Well, come to realize now, I just think it was actually a case of the Nets being rusty in game one. And honestly, I am so sick of Harden. Oh my God. I am extremely sick of Harden. I can't stand this guy. I used to vouch so much for this guy, and every year in the playoffs, I had an excuse. It was always, it's not Harden's fault. It's his team. They just playing bad. Then there's no one to help him. At his peak performance, I always had his back. I was like, no, Harden is this. He's solid. He's doing well. This postseason, I have no excuses for Harden. He's actually, every game I've watched him, it's like watching someone. If this was any other player not named James Harden, he wouldn't be playing. I think it's got to the point where early in the playoffs, people were saying, "Oh, bench James Harden," and now people are just like, "We don't care. You can do what you want with him anymore because we've all given up on Harden." And as great as he is, not trying to take that away from what he's done in his regular season career, I think if anyone wants to argue James Harden, they can always argue the regular season. Because when it comes to the playoffs, he's had moments. But on the biggest stage and the biggest moments, he's shown that, not that he's human, but I do think he gets, like, this sounds so crazy to say, I think he gets nervous of the pressure. And I think it shows with his decision making. I think when there is no expectation for him to play well, he plays well. But once there's an expectation of, like, this is a game 7, this is a game 6, he's had games where he's played all right, but he also goes to the game of, I'm thinking more about the game. Whereby before he never used to think more. Like, when someone's thinking a lot during the game, you can see it sometimes. You can see it in their decision making. You can see that James Harden is thinking, okay, I'll get to this position and then I'll just make this pass. And it's like, that's not the James Harden we know. Or he'll go to his pattern step back because he's like, I'm just going to take the step back here. And it's like, you're not shooting well. You haven't been shooting well. Why are you shooting this shot? I'm just going to, so I have to stay on this James Harden topic. So I'm just going to quickly read out his 3-point field goal percentage throughout his career in the postseason. OKC 37%, reasonable. OKC 30%. OKC 41%, that's great. 4 attempts a game, great. They made it to the finals. Good stuff, Harden. 34% with Houston. 29% in 6 games with Houston. 38%, really good, in 17 games with Houston. Actually, really impressive. I think this is the postseason where they got to the conference finals against Golden State, and then they inevitably lost, where he had one of the highest turnover games. And those were the seasons where I was vouching for Harden, like, oh my gosh, no, he's elite. He can do well. Like, this was when Harden became James Harden, essentially. So I was like, nope, Harden's amazing. He can do this. Then the next year, 31%. Then this is peak Harden now, guys. Peak Harden. Next year, 27%, 28% from 3 in 11 games. Then the next year, 30% from 3, 17 games. 17 games, James Harden shot 30% from 3, 41% from the field. Peak James Harden, this is. This is the year, I believe this is the year they took Golden State to Game 7. 30%. I'm just going overall playoffs because anyone can have individual moments. We've seen players have individual moments. TJ Warren in the bubble had an individual moment. He was great. You can't say anything about a player having one great game, 2 great games, 1 great series. It's about consistency, and that's what we judge all the great players by. Consistency. How can you do it? How long do you do it for? How long are you able to sustain that greatness? And when does your greatness come into play? Is it coming into play in the biggest pressurized moments? Or is it just when nothing really matters, when it's a first round series against the team you're meant to beat and they happen to push you to 6 games and then you close them out in 6 and you have a great game? Like, it's like, okay, good stuff. Nobody cares about that when you're a great player. James Harden being compared to, like, Dwayne Wade. James Harden being compared to Dwayne Wade means that you have to show those great moments. You can't just be, okay, like, this is James Harden. You have to show, this is when I'm great in the playoffs, because everyone knows Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is elite. So to have James Harden in conversations with the likes of Dwayne Wade and a Kobe, it's at this point, I think it's laughable now, because I don't care about how long James Harden's been in the league. 17 years, great stuff. Nobody cares. But he just hasn't done it consistently enough. He hasn't done it consistently enough. 30, so, like, even him averaging 28 points this postseason, okay, like, what do you want from me? He's attempting 22 shots from the field, 23 shots from the field, and he's averaging 28 points. How many free throws is he attempting? 8 free throws a game. He's bound to attempt that. It's James Harden. This is peak Harden. He's gonna get 28 points of 22 shots. It's gonna happen. But I just don't think he's playing well. Then we go to the next season. He won MVP in one of these years. I'm not sure if it was 18 or 19, but that's when he won MVP. So this is peak James Harden. Postseason, 35% from free, great stuff. 24 field goal attempts, he's highest. 41% from the field. These are things I just like. What is the difference between James Harden shooting 41% from the field, not the free, from the field, and a role player shooting that? Because they get less shots. But James Harden's getting more shots to just do something that isn't efficient. The reason you give your great players more shots, more attempts, is because they typically can make a higher percentage of shots than your role players can on a consistent basis. Yes, I get it. You get double teamed. Harden will get double teamed. There'll be more help focused around him. But that's what all the great players go through. And with that type of acknowledgement, that type of attention, you're expecting your great players to shoot from the field upwards of 45%. Just in general, from everything combined, 45%. That's what you're expecting your great players to shoot, because you demand that type of attention. And because you're so good, that's what makes us great, because you're able to shoot that well. And I could go through the rest with Houston. This is when he was with Westbrook. He has 47%, 48% from the field, 33% from free. One of his better shooting percentage overall. Effective field goal 50%. I think that's one of his highest. And it's like, I don't know. I'm so sick of Harden, man. This postseason, he's shooting 31% from free, 41% from the field, and it's not even like his previous years where he's averaging. Oh my God! I just realized James Harden in his MVP years, peak James Harden, averaging 7 assists, but in the regular season he was averaging way more than that. Let me see. 18-19 regular season, averaging 8 assists, and he's gone down to about 6 point something, so about 7. And it's just like, he's not passing better until his later years. He's not passing better. This postseason is averaging 5.7 assists on 4 turnovers, essentially 5 turnovers with 6 assists. He's awful. You know what? I'm actually done with Harden. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Yeah, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they need a shake-up. They need to figure out what they're going to do with this team, because Donovan Mitchell, he has moments where he shows he can be a great player. He shows he can be an elite player. After watching this game, I was watching this game, and it was the most boring game to watch, because the Knicks were in full control throughout the game, and it was just a case of what's going to happen now. And I am just so over it and disappointed in the Knicks that it's not the Knicks. I'm so over it and disappointed in Cleveland. And I really was hoping that I didn't even care about Harden getting to the finals. I just don't like the Knicks. I really don't like the Knicks. That would potentially be another video. I hate the Knicks with a passion. Not their individual players, but just overall, I just don't like it. And I think for me, it's the fact that Jalen Brunson's a really good player, but I think he's going to get put over certain plays that he shouldn't be, not acknowledging the type of team he has. If you understand what I mean. If the Knicks go up to the NBA Finals and then they potentially win the NBA Finals, because OKC and Spurs have beat up on each other so much that they're injured and they're just down, outmatched essentially. Players are going to be put in conversations they shouldn't be in. I don't think Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson's an elite player. I'll give it to you, he's an elite player. But when you have Mikal Bridges, who is shooting, oh my god, Mikal Bridges is playing like the best player ever. He's shooting 73% from the field, or like 60% from the field this postseason. It's ridiculous. After the first 3 games, he's shooting insane. And I think that's just, yeah, I think there was like a stat for Mikal Bridges who was shooting like 63% from the field. Something ridiculous like that. Like he's just going insane. You've got OG Anunoby who's hooping out of his mind. You've got Josh Hart who's a great like glue guy, defensively, energy, everything. Let's not forget Towns is also an all-star. Like he's an elite player. So they do have a really good team. You've got role players coming off the bench. Landry Shamet hitting 4 threes today. Like they've got a really good team and well-rounded team. Yes, Brunson's the one who finishes it off, and he's the one who scores in isolation. He does all of this great stuff. I'm very worried that people are gonna put him in conversations that I think maybe this is a selfish thing that I don't like him in. He could be deservedly so in those conversations. I just don't like the idea of him being in those conversations. So maybe that is a selfish aspect from me, but that's for another day. I'm really disappointed by Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought they were going to do much better than they did, especially with the start of the season, start of the series that they had. So yeah, honestly, disappointed, man. But hopefully the Spurs can come back and show me something. But yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.